look for the key.
Hopefully. I did everything on home detention. Had my baby shower at home. I pushed my baby out on home detention.
Zoe, please open the door.
I'm restricted to my house, 24/7 lockdown. I'm a prisoner in my own home.
Christina has been awaiting trial at home after her arrest for burglary, destruction of property, and threatening to burn someone's house. For over a year, she's been on an ankle monitor that tracks her every move.
I can't do anything. I literally sit in the house. I can't go out unless it's for a doctor's visit or a legal visit, like court, or see my lawyer or something like that. Can I get a job while you watch me so I can take care of my child?
Like, you're not even convicted of a crime?
No.
What does that feel like?
Like I'm guilty of the crime. Like I've already been sentenced and found guilty. It's hard. It's hard. They know I'm here by myself. I'm a new mom, so I have to risk basically going outside.
Christina is part of a broader national trend. More and more folks accused of crimes are getting strapped with ankle monitors, and that's given rise to a highly unregulated, privately run system of surveillance. No one knows how many people are being monitored nationally, but in LA, where they do keep track, the number of people monitored pre-conviction went up from 24 in 2015 to 1,284 in 2021. And in other places, like Harris County, Texas, the number of people monitored jumped from 27 in 2019 to nearly 4,000 in 2021.
I don't see it as really any different from mass incarceration.
Marianne Lima is a public defender in Baltimore who's seen how judges' increased reliance on electronic monitoring is punishing people who have yet to be proven guilty.
COVID really made the business boom because the bench was on board with, we have to clear the jails because of COVID. And so a lot of them said, okay, private home detention. And I don't think they realized the impact that it has on the clients.
What is it that people go through? How is it a hardship?
I have clients who struggle with losing their jobs. They lose their children sometimes, all because they can't go out and work or they can't leave their home. It's crazy to have to go through all that when the end result could very well just be probation, no jail time, no deprivation of liberty, just continued supervision.
Which is to say you could be, like the punishment before you're convicted could be worse than the punishment after you're convicted.
It's a condition that the court imposes to keep you somewhere, and private companies are benefiting, and you haven't even been found guilty of a crime.
In most states, courts have outsourced monitoring people to private companies, and those people are the ones paying for it. Can you show me the stuff in there?
Absolutely. I can show you a piece of the equipment.
Tim Schlau owns Alert Home Detention, a small outfit in Baltimore that charges up to $17 per day for the device, plus a $125 setup fee. For poor people in Maryland, the state picks up the pretrial tab at $11 per day, which is a tenth of what it typically costs to jail someone.
So this is the equipment that we utilize. It's called OmniLink. It's a GPS unit. Looks like Darth Vader.
It does look like Darth Vader, it's true. Tim started his home detention business in 1995 and has seen the industry and technology change over the years.
So I have it on my phone.
Oh, really?
So then what will happen is then they'll tell you where they are. You hear address, and then that gives you a history of where that person's been today.
This is kind of like incarceration, but with an electronic monitor.
Well, it is incarceration. We have people's lives in our hands. We have freedom in their hands because we're helping people to learn a better way of living.
So you think there's an element of corrections to being on home detention?
Oh, absolutely. You're only 1 foot out of jail. You got 1 foot in, you got 1 foot out. Society still hasn't come on board with all this, so wait till they have chips.
What do you mean?
Once they put a chip in you, then they'll really be able to watch you, right? Then you won't have this stuff.
You mean like a chip in the body?
Absolutely. It's eventually going to come. They're working on it.
I guess the trade-off here is that people who were incarcerated stay in a state prison it was taxpayers that are paying for that prison to operate.
Correct.
But now there's like a shifting of the financial burden of incarceration.
Yes. Why should I pay for you to go to jail if you can pay for it yourself? The benefits for you paying to stay out of jail is that you're able to be with your family and pay taxes rather than our taxpayer money paying for them to sit in jail and to be unproductive.
In our system, you are considered innocent until you're proven guilty. So that's the part where I'm like, like, does this make sense?
I think things have changed in America. The way the system works is that it's like, you're guilty. Now you got to prove your innocence. I just happened to be a businessman that got into the business to help people.
Guilt or innocence aside, money matters. 3G, who wouldn't give us his real name, says he's serving 18 months of home detention.
They're gonna be like right here, so I might just put one of y'all like right there, right on the corner. So you already down here, you can just spot right there. Yep.
He's got 5 kids and another on the way, and pays around $400 a month to a different company.
I'd rather be locked up in my home, having a chance to come outside to work, than to be forced to be locked in a little cell all day with another person having to smell their shit.
Yeah.
Just to be real and broad, just to be honest.
Right. So talk to me about, like, if you have to pay, what, $400 a month to this company, like, is that hard for you?
Yeah, it's pretty hard, but I get it done. I work day and night, but as long as my family good and I'm out of jail, I'm cool. It can definitely be used for different things. Instead of $400 being kicked out to a company, I can be investing that into myself or my family, you know.
They're making money off of this. They're making a profit off of this. What does that feel like? Being part of that or paying them?
I would rather pay them. I don't care if I was like hungry and my stomach is touching my back, I only got $200, I'm giving it to them. I'm giving it to them. I'll find something, some water, bread, I'll find something, they getting that money. I mean, honestly, to me, it just feel like I'm paying for my freedom.
Do you feel free?
In a way.
Freedom for people like 3G isn't exactly free, and the price of freedom varies greatly from county to county.
We've seen fees that are $1 a day. We've seen fees that are $40 a day. That is $1,200 a month. That's more than rent in many communities.
Tim Curry is the Policy and Research Director at the Fines and Fees Justice Center, an organization that tracks the financial impacts of the criminal justice system. He found that private companies often set the price. At least 26 states, like Louisiana, let companies charge an unspecified amount or, quote, reasonable fee, but don't specify what reasonable means. And only 2 states, California and Rhode Island, expressly prohibit fees in either the pretrial or post-conviction stage. Do you think this is sort of like a case of a hidden kind of mass incarceration, where people aren't necessarily within prisons, but they are being monitored, they have to pay for it themselves, and there's an entire industry of private companies making a ton of cash on it?
Absolutely. I mean, as prisons close, those same companies that run prisons are moving into the electronic monitoring sphere. And so this is just shifting their business plan. There's this private incentive to keep people in the electronic monitoring system so the private companies can make more. And there's very little oversight of that. If you're not following the conditions of your supervision, and if one of those conditions is paying money, you can be incarcerated. When people go back to communities, you want them to be in a place where they can succeed, where they can be good neighbors. And if we are imposing all of these restrictions, particularly financial restrictions on people, that interfere with their housing, that interfere with their work, that interfere with their paying for food, we are not making our community safer.
Christina pleaded guilty to her charges and faces 18 months to 8 years. She'll stay on the ankle monitor until her sentencing in August.
My baby actually noticed the box now. She'll actually look at her ankle and look at my ankle and look back at her ankle. I'm like, I don't want her to remember mommy with a big black box on her leg.